I love that idea of renting first,
Yeah.
not making that full commitment. And good afternoon, good morning to PSCL. She says Ashe and buenos dias, buenos
Buenos
dias.
dias.
And L. Smith, good afternoon. Please drop any questions or comments. If you've been to Barbados, if you have some good memories, we'd love to hear them. Not taking that whole investment of deciding to just move and buy a home, taking it slower, renting first, doing scouting trips first. As far as scouting trips, what made you decide to facilitate scouting trips for me and for other people to see if we might like to live there or at least spend a significant portion of time in Barbados?
It really came because when I started the channel, that's when I realized that there was actually a lot of people interested in this, and they were interested in seasonal stay, which is what I was promoting.
Mm-hmm.
Come for 4, 5, 6 months. You don't actually have to live here full time. You can actually consider doing what I call seasonal, which is, I think, it's like you hear people talking about snowbirds, which, if the UK, a lot of people from the UK come. There's been a history of them coming to Barbados for many years. UK, Canada in particular.
Mm-hmm.
You tend to find British and the Canadians. Now you've got a lot more
Yes,
Americans
we're
coming.
coming.
But before, it was British, and it was the Canadians that came, and they came to get away from the terrible cold winters, and that's what they would do, come on a tourist visa and things like that. But I noticed when I started the channel that people were interested to learn more about Barbados and interested in coming. And I think the seasonal gave people an opportunity to say, oh, you know what? Because a lot of them would immediately say, Barbados is too expensive. I couldn't afford to live out there full time. I couldn't afford to buy a house. I couldn't afford to do this and that. But then they suddenly saw, oh, I could be retired, or I could work remotely in, Barbados, and for a short period of time, and then go back home. And that's when I started to think, well, people were saying to me, I'd love to come, when are you on the island next?
Yes,
I was only
yes.
for 5 or 6 months, and I'll be back in England. And they would be asking me, when are you on the island next? And, oh, if you're on the island, when it would be lovely to meet up, and so on. And that's how it started. And then I started to do consultations online. People said, well, you need to do something, and offer this to people. And I thought, well, let's see if people are interested. And then there was interest. But then what happened after that was I suddenly started to think, what would be really good would be to give people an insight into my life here.
Yes.
Scouting trip, and let people know, especially women who might be traveling by themselves, that there's somebody out here who I could almost act as their chaperone. They would come and I would help them and give them the opportunity to come to a place that maybe they think, well, I don't really know much about, I don't know many people there, but knowing that there was somebody like me who would be able to, I could, who they could meet, and I would put an experience together for them over a few days to give them an insight into the reality of living in Barbados as well. And I think that was
And that is what touched me the most because, traveling solo is something that I prefer not to do, to be honest. I love traveling with friends and family, but you made it like every step of the way. Here's some stay options. Here are some eating options. And you held my hand through the WhatsApp group through that. So it was just like, the history, you had that for us. You had the fun touristy things like the catamaran rides and the resorts. And then you had local things for us like, Hayman's Market and Six Men's Beach and my swimming lesson. So I really love how you put that all together and showed us, yeah, the fun touristy things, but what would it be like just living here day-to-day life. And that's the brilliance. L. Smith wants to know, do you need a passport or special visa for extended stays in Barbados? I'm guessing an extended stay would be the 6 months that you were talking about.
Okay, so you need a passport, definitely,
Mhm.
to travel into Barbados. And when you come to Barbados, you have to have a ticket, a return ticket. That's something important, because when we talk
Mm.
about this tourist visa, it isn't a visa that they give you. It isn't even a stamp now. It used to be a stamp in the passport, but
Right.
basically you come and you fill in the information, electronically. So obviously they've got all the information, and you say where you were going to stay in that time and the number of days that you're going to be in the country. Now, if you're doing like I was doing, up to 6 months, you must never
Mhm.
go beyond the 6 months. You must never be an
Mm.
overstayer, because once you do that, you will get into problems with immigration. So it really is important that you um, know the limitations, but 6 months is a long time.
6 months is good.
And then, you just comply with that. In terms of, did I need to
Oh,
extend? Did she say?
yes, let me go back to that question. Um, yes, well, yes, what would you need to do if you wanted to go beyond 6 months?
Okay, so you would have to have a very specific reason to do that, and
Mm.
they're not. You'd have to go to immigration and request an extension, and you'd have to have a very good reason, and they may say no. And you
Okay.
have to go before the 6 months was up, because you don't want to be an overstayer. And then also, the the valid reasons would be that I've used when I've done my extension is because I knew I was buying property. So
Mm.
that was my reasoning. I was buying property, and then eventually I bought the property, and then I was doing work on the property, but still I never went beyond the 6 months, because
Yes,
me,
yes, and putting a significant investment in the country as well by buying that property.
yes.
Mhm.
So once they know you're doing something serious like that, then there are significant reasons. I suppose it could be health and other reasons, but it'd have to be a very significant thing. But don't quote me on that. But that would be something you would have to do. Go to immigration and check.
Do your research. This is what I found as well. Regardless of a short stay or long stay, you're going to fill out that form, where you're staying, how long you're staying, and either you do it before you leave, or else you'll be stuck at the airport doing it with all the people who forgot to do it. So that's some really good information. And Ronnie asked, hello, Jay, did you have any apprehension during the process in making the decision to relocate?
I didn't really, because like you said, Farida, because I'd
Yes.
been doing my homework the few years before, I didn't have the biggest concern and anxiety was packing up my house, selling my
Mm,
house. Would I be
mhm.
able to do all those things within a specific amount, a specific time? Because what actually happened with when I bought this house, I'd been looking at other houses, and I thought I found another house, and then that all fell down at the last leg. So, I was really disappointed. Didn't think I was going to get anything. And then all of a sudden, I traveled back to England because my 5, 6 months, whatever, was up.
Mhm.
And, my the person, the estate agent, the realtor was helping me. She was still sending me homes to look at. And then all of a sudden, one popped up. My sister said, look, this looks good, because I sent it to her, and I said, do you know
Mhm.
where this is? Because I said, I have a feeling that I might have seen this house, because I'd looked in the area, but I wasn't 100% sure. So she went to check and everything, and she said they went and did the viewing and everything, because I was in England.
Yes.
Came back and said, Jackie, you need to move quick on this, because actually it's in the right area. It's got space for all your furniture. It's more open plan. It's all the things that we know you would like. And
Yes.
I had to go by them. I'd seen the photographs, but photographs, I always say, be careful with the photographs.
They can be deceptive, yes.
And my sister, she did some videos, but she's not really into videoing like me.
Mhm,
Video in
mhm.
every corner. She would, but still, I trusted my sister's decision, judgment, and her husband, because they know me.
Mhm.
So I went with it. So of course it was all very like, oh my gosh, the people put me in such a stress, because they said, oh, well, if you want this, you have to pay the deposit like in a week's time. Well,
Oh, wow.
and that's very unusual. Normally you get
Mhm.
up to 6 weeks. But you see, people sometimes they put you in these situations because they want to know, are you serious? Because a lot of people come to the island and say, oh yes, I want this house, and they go through all of this,
Mhm.
and then 2 months down the line they say they don't want it.
Yeah.